get some analysis now from Rami Khouri. He's a public policy fellow at the American University of Beirut, and he joins me now live from Boston. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the program. So I want to read out a quote from a cousin of one of the Israeli hostages, Nama Weinberg, and she said that entering Rafah, and I quote, entering Rafah and expanding the operations there are both hindering the hostages' release negotiations and put the hostages' lives in grave danger. So as long as Netanyahu is in power, the hostages will not return. Is that the case?
I think so, yes. There was an announcement yesterday from one of the militant groups with Hamas saying that one of the British Israeli hostages had died because he had been injured in an Israeli attack, and they couldn't get him medical care because the hospitals were not really functioning at all in Gaza because of Israeli attacks. So yes, the assumption is that if more attacks go on in Rafah, that the hostages are going to be probably in great danger and dying as well. And of course, it's hard to see serious negotiations going on while these kinds of attacks. It's not just the attacks the Israelis are making. They've done this for 7 months now. It's this inhuman, cruel moving of mass Palestinian populations, telling them move from here, go here, go here, go there, and they tell them go to Al-Mawasi. That's the latest one that they say is a safe area, and it's not safe at all. There's no facilities, there's no place to house people. The UN is saying this is putting them in great danger. So it's this total inhumanity in the perception of the Israelis, of the Palestinians, and the perception of the Israelis. And the Americans pretty much share that. This is one of the really terrible things about this conflict that's becoming clear. There are differences that are tactical between the U.S. and Israel about what kind of attack, what kind of weapons, small things. But there's no differences in the strategic aim, which is try to destroy Hamas, which is difficult to do. They think they can do it. Right. And destroy as much of Gaza and kill as many people as you want. That doesn't seem to make any difference to the American government, at least. But massive protests are taking place not only in the U.S. but around the world.
Right.
So they're
one batch of 3,500 munitions, as you know, were not sent to Israel as part of Biden's warning to not launch that Rafah operation. But is it fair to say that that move was to take some sort of pressure that's on Biden at home, and that behind the scenes, Israel still does have unconditional U.S. support?
Oh, yes, it has unconditional support. There's no doubt about it. These small little gestures are public relations stunts, really. Biden is seriously in trouble with his Democratic base. The protests of the students, but other signs show that, and he's aware of it now. He poo-pooed it back in January when the primary election started, and this became clear that many Democrats are not going to vote for him if he doesn't change the Gaza policy. But as he makes these gestures, these public relations, pretty meaningless gestures in substance, to pressure the Israelis, allegedly, he generates other kinds of problems, which is the mainstream of the Republican Party and much of the Democratic Party is not happy with that. They're very close to Israel. Right. So he generates new problems. He's proved to be pretty incompetent in managing this war. This is something
it's quite confusing as well, isn't it? Because we're hearing conflating statements coming from Biden. I mean, today he said that, you know, it's on Hamas, that there could be a ceasefire tomorrow. All they have to do is release the hostages, when it's so far from reality what we've seen happen within the last week in regards to those ceasefire negotiations.
That's correct. He really is far from reality in this arena. He's done pretty well in other things, ironically, inside the U.S. and the economy and climate change and many other issues. He's really been very forceful and very intelligent. On this issue, he has completely abandoned his ability to rationalize, to reason rationally, and he's totally committed to whatever Israel wants to do, partly because it's been the legacy of his political career that he's had tremendous support from the pro-Israeli lobbies and others, and he doesn't know any other way to behave. He may be forced into changes soon because of the serious impact of the protest movements. And not only that, but the vote at the UN the other day, yesterday, a massive majority in the world that wants to have Palestine admitted as a member of the General Assembly, as a member of the full member of the UN, and all the signs around the world in terms of activism, public opinion, are critical of what the Americans and the Israelis are doing.
Right.
They want a ceasefire and they want a negotiated a truce peace that lets all the hostages out, gets the Palestinian prisoners out, and tries to address the long-term mechanisms of coexistence, which are tough to do, but they have to try that at some point.
Indeed. Rami Khouri, thank you so much for being with us here on TRT World and sharing that analysis with us. I appreciate it.